Hey folks, it's Madman Marc. Going to give you a quick video tutorial on how to propagate a giant pumpkin. And there's many reasons why you want to do this, especially if you're a plant breeder. More on that a little bit later. We're going to give you the basics here first. So what you want to do, you want to find yourself a shoot that's actively growing from the plant that you want to make a cutting from. Either one of those would work actually, because they got a nice vine tip on them, some smaller leaves, decent size vine but not too big. You don't want to find anything with a real big leaf or a real big vine, because those are a little bit harder to get going in a small pot. Now the vine I've chosen to make a cutting from is actually from a 6/16 Corkum squash, and this is ideal right here. The shoot right here is perfect compared to this other one. This other one over here is much bigger, much larger. You won't be able to get as many roots out of the leaf because each leaf are spaced pretty far apart. You want to go for something that's got little distance in between the leaves. So this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to use this one right here. And here's what you got to do. Okay, I put it in the pot here that I decided to use, and as you see, I've cut out 2 notches on both sides, one there and one there. The reason being, you want the vine coming in, you want that buried down in the pot. You don't want it exposed up on the top, so you pretty much do have to use these notches. If you have any cloning gel like Root Tone, Mad Farmer, Root Tech, any of that stuff, that's all good stuff to use on these leaf nodes here, because anywhere there's one of these white little nodes, that's where the root will pop out. So each one of those, if you put some cloning gel on them, they really will go to town faster. But I'm not going to do that. This is a basic video. I'll show you more about using that stuff in later videos when we get a little more in-depth and detailed about breeding these things from clones, or even growing these from clones the next year, if that's what you decide to do. So as you see, I've dug away some of the soil, and now if you have trendles that are in your way, cut them off. Just get rid of them. This vine here is pretty much perfect, so I'm not even going to bother. As you see, it'll lay down right there, and your shoot will go right on out of the pot. So I'm going to get some additional soil here to cover it up the rest of the way, and that'll do it as far as putting it in the pot that you want to grow it from. Okay, got some additional soil here. All I'm going to do is fill up the pot the rest of the way. That's to make sure that the vine is thoroughly buried in there, and that it's going to root for you. This one shouldn't be a problem. They usually take about 7 to 10 days to root. Sometimes they're a little bit faster than that. Just kind of depends on your variety of plant, what kind of medium you're using here, if you've used the rooting agent or not. All that plays into factor how quickly these things root. So that's it. I'm going to water this down, and this is all you need to do for first 7 to 10 days. And you'll have yourself a nice little plant here. As you see, that one already has a pumpkin on it. I should say a squash. Nice healthy vine tip. Lots of leaves. And the host plant it's coming in from goes that way. We'll be cutting that away here in about 2 weeks. So in the meantime, just make sure that you've given it ample room to grow out, which you should have plenty of room here, and enough sunlight, and that's about all you need. Now here's a plant that I did about 7 days ago. It's probably rooting in here real good at the moment. It's a little on the dry side. I'll give it some water too. You don't want to over wet these, but you definitely don't want to underwater them either, because they won't root. This one here is about ready to come out the other end there. It'll be probably a couple more days. At that time, I'll just add a little bit more soil there, bury that a little bit deeper, and then this one will be ready to cut away from the main plant. So this one's up and going. We'll take this one off the vine here in about another week. Now, while this is not the best example of a finished product here, seeing how my dog's got a hold of this, this is what you'll end up with, basically. Yes, the dog's got a hold of this, destroyed it. But as you see, I have a leaf node there that's growing actively. Another one over here actively growing. And I did have a third right here. We'll just cut that off though. You really only need 1 to 2 vine tips growing. Here's where I cut it away from the host plant. And I had this growing in the pot actually a little long. So my vine tip I cut off and I just left the shoot. So that's all you really need. This thing will bounce back pretty good and it'll be off and growing here in no time.